Hey guys, Matt here with A1amps.com, and in this video I'm just going to show you guys my new pedal board. I built this thing up the other day and it's got a lot of really cool pedals on it, so I just wanted to share some of them, show it off a bit. Hopefully you enjoy it. So for this video we're playing my 1986 Made in Japan Strat. It's a 57 reissue with Fat 50s pickups. And we're going into a Supero Royal Reverb, so clean without any pedals. Sounds like this. Alright guys, so first in line we've got the Polytune 3. It's just a tuner, it's great, works well. It's also a buffer. With this many pedals, it's great to have a buffer first in line. I've got a couple buffers in multiple pedals here, especially at the end as well in this Boss DD6. There's maybe one or two more in the mix there. Some of these big digital pedals likely have a buffer. The Palisades also has a buffer switch, so it keeps your signal strong. You don't lose any high end, which is great. So after that comes the compressor. It's a Bogner Lyndhurst, and it just kind of squashes my signal. I use a really strong compressor setting, and I use it more like an effect, or if I'm doing some tapping parts or whatever else. If I just want a little bit of a boost, I'll kick that on. But it sounds like this. Here's the sound without it. So that's the Bogner Lyndhurst. It's a great compressor, gives you a little more sustain. I also use it to help improve the tracking on the bit commander. That's not next in line. The Palisades is actually next. But this thing really does improve the tracking on this. The bit commander is a synth pedal, if you don't know it. Does a bunch of octave stuff, and the tracking on it's really not that great with single coils. So the compressor really just helps punch through. So let's check that out. So that's the bit commander. That's really what I use it for. It does some fuzzy stuff as well. I'm not even using the octave up or sub octave on that right there. So let's check out some of those settings. Definitely a fun pedal. Next in line, we got the Palisades. It's just a super complicated tube screamer, really. I have it set up like a TS-808, but it does a bunch of other stuff too. There's a whole bunch of different clipping voices in it to change the way it breaks up, and 5 different bandwidths to change how thick or thin the sound is. I leave it right in the middle, and the clipping voice set to a TS-808. You can totally take out the clipping diodes. You can get more of a fuzz, distortions, whatever, but here it is, just as a tube screamer, really. Having that second gain stage and a boost available is really helpful. I'm not going to get too much further into that one because there's a million different settings on it. But, you know, that's my main drive, and it works great. So after that, yeah, it actually goes into the Bit Commander after that. And then we go into the Dream Reaper, which is a fuzz. So that thing's really fun, cleans up well with the volume. It's also got a switch to just make it oscillate and make crazy random feedback. It's just a really fun thing when you're playing with some gain, and it works better with humbuckers, I feel, but you know, it works with the Strat as well. So after that, we go into the Infinite Jets. This thing is one of my new favorites. I just kind of use it along with the Afterneath to, you know, do all the ambient stuff. So let's just check out 1 or 2 settings. So you get big pads like that. It's really cool. It's not really synthy, even though it's a re-synthesizer. It just kind of stretches things out in that mode. It does have a synth mode that, you know, is okay. Coming from real synths, it's, you know, not the best. I'd rather have a real synth doing pads, so I don't really use that too much. The glitch mode's cool. I actually replaced my Autobit Junior with this. And I have that saved as a preset, so let's check that out. So that can be cool when used with, you know, delay, reverb, bunch of other ambient stuff. But there's a bunch of settings in here. Again, not going to get into them all right now, but it's got some really fun stuff in that little box. So from there, we're going right into the Deco next door. Now this thing is basically a tape machine. It's got, you know, a tape machine preamp, and you can get chorus, delay, flanger. That's mainly what I use it for. You get great slapback out of it, some doubling effects as if you were multi-tracking guitar parts. But I typically like to use the tape saturation as, you know, a boost, compression, maybe a little bit of drive when I want something a little more transparent than the Tube Screamery Palisades. But let's check out that cleaner drive. So there I was switching between chorus and flanger just by holding down the right foot switch. Really fun on-the-fly thing you can do. Again, you can also get some delay sounds and doubling sounds out of it, but we're not going to go into every single sound on every pedal. So next in line, we've got the Explorer. This is a phaser, pretty high-end stuff, handmade, really awesome wiring and PCB in there. The design on it is just worth the price alone, I think. But it sounds great. It replaced a EQD Grand Orbiter, and they're similar, but this one has a bunch more wave shapes and also a level control, which is pretty handy. So let's hear some sounds out of that. Pretty straightforward. Phasers aren't too complicated. The wave shapes work as they seem like they would. Next in line, we've got the Hungry Robot Karman line delay. Now this thing is basically an analog voiced delay. I think it might be digital. I'm not 100% sure. I have to double check on that. But it's a really dark and modulated delay. It's, you know, it does a lot of cool things, but we'll just hear the straightforward sounds first. So as you see, the joystick kind of controls the delay time, and the switch on the right just puts it into oscillator mode, and it just runs away. But it stays below the mix, which is cool, so you can play over it and it never gets overwhelming. A really fun pedal. The switch in the middle is a swell, so it just swells the oscillations, volume-wise, I guess. But that one's been extremely fun since I got it. It's great for looping. You can throw a little oscillation in the background of whatever you're doing, and it just adds a really cool spacey feel to things. Next in line, we've got the Afterneath. I assume most people know what that one does, but it's a pretty cool ambient thing. If I don't feel like messing with the infinite jets and, you know, dealing with all its complicated settings, I'll just turn on the Afterneath and get some really cool, huge sounds. So yeah, that's the Afterneath. You know, that thing's huge. It's great with fuzz into it, with whatever. Phaser sounds great into it, but running out of time here. So after that, got the Meteor, I don't know how to say that with those apostrophes or whatever they are. But it's basically a spring reverb, kind of, amp reverb. You can drive the springs, you can, you know, turn up the level and get a really huge sound. It's got a bright switch. It has a pretty noticeable pre-delay, which is interesting and can be kind of a pain when you start cranking some of the knobs. You have to play really softly as to not like hit the spring too hard, or else, you know, you'll get that big splash, but it can be cool. And as you just heard, that's kind of how I use my DD6. I use the looper function to do kind of like stuttery skips, kind of like a CD skipping or something. I don't know. If you're playing, it's great when you're looping, because if you're doing like a lead thing, it can be like a quick fill. If you do like a, I don't know, I'll just show you, I guess. That's usually how I use it. It's kind of stupid, but it can be cool in a full mix. So just take my word for it. Listen to bands, you know, like Terramellos or whoever. They do all sorts of that stuff. So, sorry I didn't have too much playing. Lots of bad playing. But, you know, that's the board. Got a lot of cool stuff on there, and keep an eye on some more videos where I actually jump into each one and play better. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Got a look at some cool pedals, and oh, I missed one. It's a ring mod, the Fairfield Circuitry Randy's Revenge. It's a ring mod, and if you slow it down enough, it's a tremolo. Really cool stuff. Sounds like a amp tremolo. It's great. But other than that, I've been Matt with A1 Amps, and thanks for watching. Catch you next time.